Hello, everyone. I get to speak about something I'm really passionate, and I'm not talking about the hows today, which I usually speak about how to write your book, how to publish your book, but today I am speaking about why you should write that book and why the world needs your story, okay? And first I'm going to go into a bit about my story and why the world needed my story and why I needed to share it to leverage it in my life, okay? So we're going to feel the feels here. I went through a bit of a dark period in my life. I had a double miscarriage and it was horrendous for me. Now, most people know me. I'm a mum of 6 beautiful children. I'm very blessed indeed. But in between my boys and girls, I had a double miscarriage. Now, it was quite early on, but it really affected me deeply at a very, very deep level. And I couldn't just settle with any kind of medical reason for it happening. I just didn't get my answer that my heart longed for. So in about 2 years later, I had moved to Australia. I had my 4th child, so I was being really blessed. And I was watching daytime TV. I never watched daytime TV. ABC Kids was always on, okay? But this one day I was obviously supposed to watch this message, and it was The View, and Whoopi Goldberg was speaking on The View, and she had a celebrity couple who were a reality TV stars come on, okay? And they had just recently endured a miscarriage, and it was in front of the world. Now, can you imagine that happening so visibly in front of the world? And I really felt for them. But Whoopi turned her back to the camera, so unprofessional. She stopped the show and she said to them, I am going to tell you what I tell all of my friends whenever this happens to them, that this was a visitor that came to knock you back onto the right path in life because you're not there, you're not on the right path in your life. And when you do that, your gift will come. And I was like, oh, that is why this happened to me. I was not on the right path in my life. And I identified, because hindsight's wonderful, I could look back and think, when I endured this, I cried buckets of tears for what I lost. I cried buckets of tears for other things that had happened during that dark time. And I released. And it knocked me and shifted me onto actually feeling again, because I wasn't feeling for a while. And when I shifted onto the right path, everything in my life became aligned and magic started to happen again. And because for the few years previous, nothing had happened. I was always a very bubbly and extroverted person. I loved people. I loved meeting people and doing amazing things. But for a time, that wasn't happening. So whenever this happened in my life, I obviously started to feel again. But in that year, I actually finished building a house. I moved to Australia. I got pregnant again straight away. And I had my 3rd child, all in 1 year. Some people would take 10 years to do that. We did it all at once. And it was amazing. And after I heard Whoopi Goldberg say those words, I felt compelled to share my message. And I wasn't a writer at that time. I did share a few blogs and things like that because I was on a bit of a spiritual journey. And I felt compelled to write a book, which was totally irrational. Nobody in my family had ever written a book before. Nobody in my circle had ever written a book before. But I felt this calling to write a book. And then right in front of me, this thing came visible that it was Novel Writing Month in 2 days' time. November Novel Writing Month. And that if I wrote 1,667 words a day for 30 days, I would have a 50,000-word novel. You can do that with a 4-week-old baby, can't you? Well, I did, and for 30 days, every day with keys missing on my keyboard, I typed in 1,667 words a day, and this novel just flowed from me. I don't know where it came from. When I read it, I said, did I write that? That's interesting. But this book, and the reason why I'm telling you this story is because I was called to write this book. And I want you to identify about your story. And, through the darkness can come so much light. And the message in the beginning of this book was, and I wrote this quote, which is, "From every negative situation is the potential for a positive outcome." Okay, and I truly believe that with all of my being, okay? Everything happens for a reason. So I shared my personal story interwoven into a fictional novel. I was one of the characters, and this book went out into the world, and oh my goodness, the people that found it. I cannot believe the connections that I have made, very deep connections with people that needed to read my book at that time. Somebody read it before it was even published, and she said that she had just recently endured loss, and she said that the book gave her the answer that her heart longed for, that nobody else could give, because I had obviously a deep understanding. So that is why I am so passionate about the power of the written word. Passionate about story is because when you are brave enough and vulnerable enough to share your story, and when that story connects with somebody else, whether it be your business journey, whether it be a personal journey, whether it be a children's book, those stories are so important and need to be out into the world, because when they connect, they create moments, they create understanding, they create awareness. And it takes courage. It takes courage to sit down and write kind of that way, so that to reach your audience. But when you do it, and when you connect with that person who needs to read your book at that very moment, magic happens. That's why I created the Making Magic Happen Press, because there's so much power in the written word. There really and truly is. So I just wanted to share that personal story with you, because that story was a catalyst of how I ended up getting into publishing. Now, I wrote this heart-centered book. It went out into the world. It was a finalist in a Reader's Favourite Book Awards in Miami. My first ever book. Oh my goodness, I was obviously connecting with the essence of people through my words. I did not like English at school. It was partly to do with that I didn't connect with my English teacher. So I am not a literary writer. I write through story and write through expression and write through making people feel the feels. So I had people write their story all the time. And the reason why I say, no matter who you are, everyone has a story to share. And we all have the ability, and through story, we connect with other people at a deeper level. And through my work that I do now in publishing, because I published that book, it was a negative experience, publishing experience, but I learned everything I needed to learn to publish my second book. So, and when somebody asked me would I publish their book, I thought, I can do that. And so a bit of time and circumstance aligned. And the very month that I started to explore and research this, the print and distribution channel that was used by my previous publisher opened up an office in Melbourne, Australia. And I was one of their first publishers. So 250 books later, 7 years down the line, I am as passionate about sharing stories and getting those 250 books may not be out in the world if it was not for me and the courage of the authors who chose to share them with the world, okay? So why does the world need your story? Because each and every one of you here has a story, okay? And so, a lot of people think that they don't have a story worth sharing. Well, I can assure you that you do. And when you have the skills to know what story to share, that is at the essence of if it's a business book or if you're trying to connect with your audience. Like Wani shared last night in our panel, that quite often it's not the business skills that people connect with, it's the person, it's your brand. Ron mentioned that. People connect with you and who you are, and that attracts them to you for your business. So even no matter what you do for your living, having a book and sharing your story is leverageable in so many ways. It really and truly is. Okay, Jordelle. So I started to think about my talk yesterday, and I wanted to share there's 3 different things. And one is a hic, okay? So the H is for help. So when you reach out with your story into the world, you can help another person. You can help heal the world in your own little way. If it's one person that you help to heal, or if one person that you help to connect with or inspire, or, that's one person. That ripples out from them to people in their network. And therefore. And soon you have like a tsunami effect, where one person that you reach directly, they connect. It just, whenever it's done with the right intention, and you're putting words out into the world with the right intention, it just has such a powerful, and we can make real big change happen through those channels. And I have seen it happen so many times with many of my authors. Okay, so the I is for inspire. We inspire people to be their best self. I inspire people all the time, but I'm just being me. I'm comfortable. I found out who I am, and I'm comfortable in my skin. And I love what I do. And I inspire other people to do that for themselves. Is that not a good thing? You know? So why not inspire others by just being yourself? It's so empowering. And so the C is for connection. Okay, and that's why we're all here connecting on so many levels. Connection is such a powerful thing. And we all connect in different ways, and that's okay. So when we connect and share our story with the world, we're making that little bit of difference that can help instigate a really positive change, okay? Can I ask, has anybody here got a book or a story that they want to share? Shelley, I know you do. Better than dessert. Anyone else who I haven't heard from? Una?
Yes. I worked internationally as a humanitarian for 5 years across the globe.
Yes.
And I kept daily diaries.
Yes.
Those journals.
There we are. She has journaled. She has journaled her humanitarian work across the globe. Do we not want to read that story? Can you imagine the insight? Only Una has that perspective. Only Una can tell that story. And no matter what you do in your lifetime, only you are the only person that can share your story, okay? Thank you very much, guys, and thanks for listening. Bye.